Okay, so what if the world you think you know, the one you live in every single day, is built on a fundamental error? In this explainer, we're going to deconstruct a reality that's completely different from our own, all based on a really fascinating and complex set of source materials. Let's dive in. Right from the get-go, the sources we're looking at today make a huge claim that the very foundation of our physics, this idea of a vacuum, is not just wrong, but it's a deliberate error, a bug in the system, if you will. So, to even begin to understand this alternate reality, we have to throw out our rulebook and learn its unique laws of physics. And it all, and I mean all of it, starts with a single concept: ether. Yeah, forget everything you've ever learned about the vacuum of space. In this model, there's no such thing as empty. Instead, everything exists within this substance called ether. It's a super dense, super fluid medium that dictates how all of reality works. Think of it less like empty space and more like the operating system for the entire world. And this is where things start to get really wild. So, in this reality, gravity isn't some mysterious force pulling things together based on their mass. No, it's described as an electromagnetic pull, a kind of suction, coming from a giant motor in the Earth. And energy? It's not created by burning things or fission or fusion. It's generated by implosion, a process that supposedly creates infinite energy. At the very center of this world is this giant unipolar motor. It's the engine that powers absolutely everything. It's just spinning endlessly, creating the energy and the forces that shape this entire reality. It's basically the heart of the world, pumping out electromagnetic lifeblood. So how does it all connect? Well, first, the ether gets compressed in a vortex, creating that infinite energy. That energy then powers the giant motor, which in turn makes the entire ether field resonate, kind of like hitting a tuning fork. And then, get this, the sun and the moon, they act like giant receivers, like massive Tesla coils, just picking up this energy wirelessly. Imagine a world where power isn't burned but is generated from the ground up and just broadcast through the air. Okay, so what kind of world would these physics actually create? According to the source materials, it was a world very, very different from our own, a high-energy world. This slide just lays out the stark contrast between that past and our present. In the high aether past, things were literally easier to move, and that gravity suction effect was much weaker. This is what allowed for massive beings, giants, to physically exist. It was a world of abundant, free, wireless energy. Our world, by comparison, is described as a low aether environment: heavy, difficult, and scarce. And you've probably seen pictures of these star forts, right? Well, according to this theory, their purpose was completely different from what we're told. They weren't military forts at all. They were geometric energy nodes, acting like antennas and capacitors in an advanced worldwide free energy network. So if this incredible high-energy world really existed, the big question is, what happened to it? The source material points to a single, cataclysmic event they call the Mad Flood. Now, this mad flood wasn't a natural disaster. The theory is very clear on this. It was a deliberate worldwide system reset. The timeline suggests that before the 1840s, this amazing civilization thrived. But then, that giant motor at the heart of the world was intentionally manipulated, causing a catastrophic flood that literally buried the old world and severed its power grid for good. The theory then asks a really key question. Why mud? Why bury everything specifically in mud? Well, the sources argue it wasn't just about destruction. The mud served a very, very specific purpose. And here's the crucial detail. The mud had an electrical purpose. It acted as an insulator, basically short-circuiting the entire global free energy grid. In an instant, these magnificent power plants were turned into nothing more than useless stone buildings, completely cut off from their power source. The mud was the off switch. After the physical reset, there had to be a societal one. The original population was dealt with, either eliminated or re-educated. Suddenly, orphan trains appeared filled with children who had no memory of the world before. These kids were then taught a brand new false history. And those grand world fairs? The theory posits they were used to show off the last remnants of the old world's architecture before systematically demolishing it. And that brings us to the world we live in today, a world which the sources describe as being in a constant state of managed decline, a condition they call the aether famine. You see, the consequences of that reset go way beyond just losing free energy. The theory suggests that all of us are suffering from a chronic starvation of aether, that essential life force. This aether famine isn't just a side effect. It's designed to physically suppress our vitality, our intelligence, and even our ability to notice that something is wrong with the system. And this slide really tries to visualize the alleged consequences. According to the source material, because of this aether famine, modern humans are physically smaller, we have shorter lifespans, and we're cognitively limited compared to our ancestors. We're running on empty, basically. This worldview goes on to say that this state of control is actively maintained today. It reframes things like chemtrails not as weather modification, but as a tool to spray metallic particles to block ether flow. Our entire education system is seen as a form of information control, teaching bugged physics to hide the truth. And our reliance on fossil fuels, a carefully manufactured system of energy scarcity. So, what's the ultimate takeaway from all this? What does this incredibly intricate worldview actually build towards? Well, the final, staggering conclusion of this theory is that we are living in a completely constructed reality, an unseen prison where the bars aren't made of steel, but of manipulated physical laws and a history that was written for us. I mean, that really flips the entire script on our place in the cosmos, doesn't it? It suggests that our reality is not only much smaller than we think, but also far, far more tightly controlled. And that leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question posed by the material itself. If this world is a system with a bug, what if the people who notice the glitches in our reality aren't just theorists? What if they are potential code debuggers, people who might just have the ability to help fix the system? Something to think about.